The crowd moved quickly along the dusty sidewalk at Oshodi Underbridge. Bus conductors screamed for passengers. But no one noticed the old, blind man sitting quietly on a torn mat by the bridge wall until the sound of a loud laugh caught a young woman's attention. "Look at this old man. Imagine begging at this age. Where are his children?" one girl said, giggling as she tossed her straightened wig behind her shoulder and walked past. Another followed, adjusting her tight skirt. "And see how he's even begging fine girls. Some men will never have shame." But then, something strange happened. A voice weak but clear rose from the mat. "My daughter, please. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I just want a little food. I'm too weak to move." That was when Monica stopped. She turned around slowly, her heart pulling her toward the voice. She was wearing a neat office blouse, and her small backpack swung behind her as she moved. Her friends, still laughing, rolled their eyes. "Monica, please don't start that you're Mother Teresa behavior again." "Oh." But Monica wasn't listening anymore. She walked up to the man, his eyes covered in dark glasses, his hands trembling as he held out a small cup with a few coins inside. His hair was grey, his wrapper dirty, but his voice, there was something honest in it. "Papa," she said softly, "don't worry, I'll be back." 5 minutes later, Monica returned with a steaming takeaway pack of jollof rice and chicken and a cold bottled water. She knelt and handed them to the man gently. "Eat, sir," she said. "I'm now your daughter, and I'll check on you any time I pass here, okay?" The man didn't say a word at first. Then, slowly, he smiled. "Thank you. My child, what's your name?" "Monica," she answered. He stretched out a small folded paper. "Please, help me write your number here. Maybe one day someone can help me reach you again." Monica smiled and wrote it down. She didn't know that the man she just fed was Chief Williamson, of the most powerful men in Nigeria. Not just a billionaire, but a kingmaker. A man with estates stretching from Lagos to Dubai. A man whose companies fed thousands and whose word shaped elections. And that man had just found what he was searching for. That evening, in a mansion guarded by gates taller than trees and armed security men, Chief Williams sat in a golden armchair, sipping his tea and staring at the phone. The number Monica had written was already saved. His private butler, Samuel, noticed the gleam in his master's eye. "Sir, you're smiling. Good news." Chief Williams chuckled. "I may have found her, Samuel." "Her, sir?" "Yes," he replied, his voice low. "The woman who will become the heart of the Williams family." Let's go back a little. Chief Williams had everything: a fleet of luxury cars, houses across continents, and political connections that could silence even the loudest critics. He was over 70, but age had not slowed him. His late wife, Sandra, died giving birth to their only son, Donald. Since then, he had raised Donald alone, never remarrying, never even entertaining the idea. Sandra was irreplaceable, but Chief Williams had a worry that kept him awake at night. Donald, now 45, was successful, handsome, brilliant. He had helped run his father's businesses from his late 20s, but he was still unmarried, and that scared Chief Williams more than any political war. He had met some of the women Donald brought home in the past, but none impressed him. Most were obsessed with wealth, luxury, or fame. None had the heart of a queen. None had the quiet strength Sandra once had. He wanted grandchildren before he left this world. He wanted to see his son hold a family of his own. He wanted Pisano just for himself, but for the legacy he built. One night, pacing across his marble hallway in Lekki Phase, he stopped suddenly. "If I want a woman with heart," he whispered, "I must see her where there is no spotlight, no fame, no cameras, where love costs nothing but compassion." The next morning, Chief Williams drove himself no convoy, no guardstow, a small hotel near Ojuelegba. In the bathroom, he wrapped himself in old clothes, smeared dust on his face, and used charcoal to dull the shine of his glasses. He looked in the mirror. "You are no longer Chief Williams," he said. "You are an old, poor, blind beggar." And now, the plan had worked. Monica didn't just give him food. She gave him something far more rare: kindness without expectation. No Instagram photo, no recognition, no gain. The next Saturday morning, she would learn the truth. At exactly 9:00 a.m., Monica's phone rang. Still half asleep, she answered. "Hello? Good morning, my daughter. It's me, your blind papa. I'm coming to visit you today. I'll find someone to help me get there." Monica chuckled. "Okay, sir. You're always welcome." She didn't expect what came next. Loud horns, a rumble of engines. Her window shook. She peeked outside and froze. A long black convoy at least 4 SUVs and 2 police escorts spilled into her compound. Her neighbors rushed out. Everyone was whispering. Who was coming? A governor? Monica, barefoot, opened her front door, and her mouth dropped open. The same old man she gave food to stepped out of the first SUV, but now he wore a white agbada, as bright as the sun, with a beaded red cap and gold staff. Soldiers lined beside him. Monica backed away. "Monica," he said, walking toward her with grace and power. "I am the blind beggar you fed yesterday." She stood frozen. "I am Chief Williams. I was never blind. I was never a beggar. But I was looking for someone. And I found you." The crowd was silent. All eyes were on them. Chief Williams raised his hand. "I have a favor to beg you. I'm not here to give. I'm here to ask. My only son, Donald, is unmarried, and I want you to be his wife." Monica gasped. What could she possibly say? Before her stood the most powerful man she had ever seen, and the favor he was asking could change her life forever. And as her neighbors watched and whispers filled the air, Monica's heart raced. She was about to step into a life she never dreamed of, but the journey ahead would be anything but smooth. Monica stood at the center of the compound, frozen. Her neighbors were whispering so loud it felt like the air itself buzzed with shock. The same man she gave food to under Ojuelegba Bridge just yesterday was now standing in front of her, flanked by bodyguards and dressed in royal white agbada that shimmered in the morning sun. She looked at him, really looked, and finally saw the sharpness behind his calm eyes. His voice wasn't weak anymore. It was strong, commanding, yet gentle. "I am Chief Williams," he repeated, smiling kindly. "But yesterday you treated me like your own father, even when I had nothing to give. Today, I have come as myself. Not to repay you, no, but to ask something from you." The compound was silent. Monica's lips parted, but no words came out. "I have one son," he said. "His name is Donald. He's 45, unmarried, and runs most of my companies. But I worry that if something happens to him, everything I've built will crumble. I need a daughter who has the heart to carry this legacy with him. Monica, I believe you're that person." Monica's eyes widened. "Sir, too don't know what to say." Chief Williams smiled softly. "Say yes. That's all." The neighbors around her burst into a soft gasp. One of them whispered, "Ah, this girl, Don Hammer." Another murmured, "She just fed one old man, and now billionaire Don Carriam." Monica turned to him, hands slightly trembling. "Chief, I'm just a regular girl. I'm not rich. I'm not from a big family. I lost my parents when I was 13. Everything I have, I worked for myself." "Exactly," Chief Williams said, stepping closer. "That's why I chose you." There was something deeply sincere in his eyes, and Monica couldn't bring herself to say no. "Can I meet him first?" she asked carefully. Chief Williams chuckled. "Of course. I didn't bring a wedding dress with me." The crowd laughed quietly. "Come with me. Meet Donald. If your heart agrees, the rest will follow." 2 hours later, Monica sat in the back of the same SUV that had shocked her entire neighborhood, her eyes wide as they passed through the gates of Chief Williams' Lecky mansion. The compound looked like something out of a movie: perfectly trimmed hedges, water fountains dancing in the sun, marble statues, and a gold-plated gate that closed silently behind them. Inside the mansion, everything smelled of clean leather, polished wood, and expensive perfume. She walked behind Chief Williams, trying not to stare too much at the tall ceilings or sparkling chandeliers. Then, at the end of the hallway, a man stepped out of a study. He was tall, dark-skinned, clean-shaven with broad shoulders and confident eyes that studied her quickly but not rudely. He wore a fitted white native attire, simple yet elegant. There was no smile at first, just a calm nod. "Monica, this is my son, Donald," Chief Williams said. "Donald, this is Monica." Donald extended his hand. "Nice to meet you." Monica shook it, then quietly said, "Same here." For the next 2 hours, the three of them talked in a private lounge. Monica learned that Donald had admired his father's strength all his life and had sacrificed his personal life to run the empire. He explained how women often came for what they could gain, not to build with him, but to consume. Chief Williams nodded in agreement. Most of them didn't have the heart for the legacy. Donald turned to Monica. "But my father said you fed him with love. No questions asked." Monica blushed. "I just did what I'd want someone to do for my father, if he was still alive." That was when something surprising happened. Donald's calm face softened for the first time. "Then maybe we already have something in common." Over the next few weeks, Monica visited more often. Chief Williams sent a car for her every Saturday. She and Donald took long walks in the garden, laughed over tea, and discussed books and business. She learned Donald was surprisingly funny when he was relaxed, and Donald discovered Monica had ideas even his top managers didn't think of. Then came the twist. One evening, while sitting in the garden after a company dinner, Chief Williams pulled out a file. He handed it to Monica. "Open it," he said. Inside was a copy of her employment file from the oil company she worked for. Monica blinked. "Sir, this is from my office." Chief Williams smiled. "You didn't know this, but that company belongs to me. It's one of my smaller firms, managed under a different name. You were one of our best staff. Your quarterly reports were always spotless, and your team described you as a natural leader." Monica was stunned. "You knew all this before the bridge?" "No," he replied gently. "I found out afterward. That sealed it for me." Weeks passed, then months. Monica was promoted to an executive role and given a seat at the boardroom with Donald. They became not just partners but friends, and soon they became something more. Their relationship was announced with joy and media buzz. Everyone wanted to know who Monica was, where she came from, how she captured the heart of Nigeria's most eligible billionaire heir. 1 year later, Donald stood on a stage beside Monica. They announced their wedding date, December 12th. It was the most anticipated wedding of the year. The elite were already preparing. And Monica's old neighborhood? It became a hot spot. Everyone remembered the day Chief Williams showed up in that convoy. But just 2 days before the wedding, disaster struck. At 11:47 p.m., Donald's phone rang. He jumped out of bed. On the other end was a frightened security officer. "Sir, Monica is missing." Donald's voice dropped to a whisper. "What did you say?" "Her car was found near Victoria Island. Driver unconscious. No trace of Miss Monica." Donald's heart sank. At that same moment, Chief Williams stood in his hallway, fists clenched, eyes burning with rage. "She's been taken," he said darkly. And then he added one name, Amara. The night air felt heavy as Donald stood frozen in the middle of his study, phone still pressed to his ear. Monica gone. Just like that. The news hit him like a thunderbolt. Chief Williams entered the room, his white robe flowing behind him, but his face was tight with fury. "Get me the Inspector General," he said without hesitation. "Mobilize every resource. I want Lagos on lockdown by sunrise." Within the hour, top security officers filled the mansion. Helicopters were ordered. Phone lines tapped. CCTV footage pulled. A special force was deployed. But deep down, Donald already knew who had done it. Amara. She had once been one of the women he dated briefly, young, stunning, bold. But behind the glamour was a thirst for power. When Donald ended things, she didn't take it lightly. Her obsession only grew worse when she realized he had no interest in marrying her. But the final blow came when Chief Williams rejected her outright. "She's been planning this," Donald muttered, pacing. "She always said if she couldn't have me, no one else would." Chief Williams nodded. She doesn't want you. She wants control. And when that failed, she went after the one thing that would break us. Monica. Far away, in a dark, abandoned warehouse near Badagry, Monica sat tied to a rusted chair, her lips trembling. A dim bulb swung above her, her head ached, and her wrists were red from the ropes. Amara stood in front of her, dressed in black jeans and boots, eyes cold as stone. "You took my place," she whispered. "You stole my life." Monica's voice cracked. "I didn't even know you existed." Amara laughed. "Of course you didn't. You were too busy feeding blind beggars." Suddenly, a sound echoed, outside tires skidding. Loud. Fast. Then came shouting. A spotlight burst through the warehouse windows. Monica's heart leapt. Within seconds, the steel door slammed open. Armed officers stormed in, weapons raised. Amara tried to run but was tackled to the ground. Donald rushed in moments later, eyes wild until he saw her. "Monica!" he shouted. She cried out his name as he broke through the ropes and held her in his arms. "You're safe now," he whispered. And behind them, Chief Williams entered, his face soft with relief, his eyes glistening. "Let's take you home, daughter." As Amara was dragged away, screaming threats, Monica looked back one last time. This nightmare had almost stolen everything, but love had found her, and now she had found her family. The morning sun rose gently over Lagos, casting a golden hue across the Williams estate. Inside the mansion, staff moved in swift silence, arranging white orchids, adjusting golden ribbons, and making last-minute changes to the already perfect decorations. But upstairs, in a quiet room, Monica sat by the window in her wedding gown, soft white lace draping her shoulders, a veil pinned delicately to her natural curls. Her eyes stared into the garden where she had once laughed with Donald, never imagining this day would come. A soft knock came. Chief Williams stepped in, wearing a gold and white agbada stitched with royal embroidery. He smiled. "Are you ready, my daughter?" Monica stood slowly. "I still can't believe I'm here. After everything." He walked up and gently held her hand. "You were strong. You earned this moment. Today, I am proud not just because you're becoming my son's wife, but because you've become the daughter I never had." Monica's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you for choosing me when I had nothing." Chief Williams nodded. "No, my dear. You chose me. That day under the bridge, when no one else saw me, you did." Outside, the atmosphere was electric. Top dignitaries, celebrities, governors, and even foreign diplomats arrived in Rolls-Royces and private escorts. The media called it the wedding of the decade. Cameras flashed. Guests whispered about the girl who fed a beggar and ended up marrying the heir to a billion-dollar empire. Donald stood at the altar, dressed in a cream-colored agbada, his eyes never leaving the mansion door. Then the music began. All heads turned. Monica stepped out glowing, radiant, breathtaking. Gasps rippled through the crowd as she walked slowly down the aisle, her eyes locked on Donald's. He smiled, whispering when she reached him, "You look like a dream." She whispered back, "You feel like home." The ceremony was simple but powerful. "I, Donald Williams, take you, Monica, as my wife, my partner, my peace, my future. I, Monica, take you, Donald, to love, to honor, and to build with all the days of my life." As the priest blessed their union, Chief Williams closed his eyes and took a deep breath. A single tear rolled down his cheek. His dream had come true. And then came one final twist. Just as they turned to face the guests, hand in hand, the priest announced, "May I now present to you Mr. and Mrs. Donald Williams." The crowd cheered, but before Monica could even step down the aisle, a voice rang out from the back. "Chief Williams." Everyone turned. A well-dressed man in a grey suit was walking quickly toward the stage, holding an envelope. His face was serious, his tone urgent. "There's something you need to see," he said. Chief Williams took the envelope, frowning. He opened it, and what he saw inside made his face go pale. He looked up sharply right at Monica. The wedding crowd fell silent. Chief Williams stood frozen, the open envelope trembling slightly in his hand. His eyes shifted from the paper to Monica, then to Donald, then back again. The music had stopped. Even the doves released minutes ago seemed to pause mid-flight. Donald stepped forward. "Dad, what is it?" Chief Williams cleared his throat, trying to keep his voice steady. "This document. It's from the National Archives." Everyone leaned in. He turned to Monica slowly. "It's about your father, Monica. His real name was Engineer Dominic Easy." Monica blinked. "Yes, that was my father." The chief exhaled, eyes misting. "He wasn't just any engineer. He was the man who saved my life 35 years ago." Gasps echoed through the crowd. "Your father was working on an oil rig I owned in Port Harcourt. A fire broke out in the main control room. While everyone ran, your father pulled me from the flames and suffered injuries himself. I tried to reward him, but he vanished soon after. I searched for years and found nothing. I never knew he had a daughter, until now." Monica's lips trembled. "You mean, all this time, you knew my father?" "No," Chief Williams said, shaking his head. "Not until this morning. This man," he gestured to the guest with the envelope, "was part of my old security team. He recognized your surname in the wedding program and dug into the records." He stepped closer and gently took Monica's hand. "I thought I was choosing you for Donald, but the truth is, destiny chose you for this family long before I ever sat under that bridge." Tears slipped down Monica's cheeks as Donald wrapped his arm around her. "That explains why I felt like I'd known you forever," he whispered. The crowd erupted in warm applause. The wedding continued, not just with joy but with purpose. Chief Williams gave his final speech as the couple cut their towering wedding cake. "I can now rest," he said with a satisfied smile. "My son has a wife. My empire has a future. And my promise to Sandra is complete." 1 year later, Monica walked into the same garden where she once had her first conversation with Donald. But now she held 2 tiny bundles in her arms twins, a boy and a girl. Donald followed close, kissing her cheek. "The board meeting's in an hour, Mrs. Williams." Monica smiled. "Let them wait. I'm with my babies." Just then, Chief Williams walked out onto the balcony, leaning on his cane. His eyes sparkled with pride. "They'll grow up stronger than all of us," he said. Monica looked up. "Because of the legacy you built." He shook his head. "No, my dear. Because of the love you brought into it." And with that, the Williams empire had not just found its future but its heart. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.